All right, we are starting this one off with a talking head. I guess the whole video is going to be a talking head because I left the GoPro at home for this particular video. We're going to be talking about two main topics while we're looking at the photographs today. The first one is CineChrome. Yeah, it's a digital Sony film simulation. But the other topic we're going to be talking about is, not psyching yourself out, not putting all this pressure, unnecessary pressure on ourselves. A lot of this will just come across as me talking to you, but the reality is it's really just me talking to myself. So keep that in mind. But I do think that I'm not the only one that has these similar thoughts and issues and things. The reason why we're doing this video and talking about these two topics, I am forcing myself to start documenting the community that I actually live in. I've definitely shot here multiple times. I've showed it in past videos, but it's just, it's something that I don't get excited about. And a lot of it is just because there's just not a lot of street culture here. It's not the exciting world of downtown LA, and I much prefer to go into downtown Los Angeles or over on the west side and hit up Venice Beach or Santa Monica. And, there's a couple downsides to that, and the first one being is some of those take a while to get to. But also, I do think it is important for us as documentarians, street photographers, to document our own communities. I think that is an important thing to do. So with all that being said, I am forcing myself to explore in my own town. And one of the things to kind of help me get out there is to kind of start experimenting with these Sony film simulations again. Now, why would I even care about that? Well, because the downside is as much as I love shooting on a Leica M rangefinder, they just draw way too much attention. They really do. And if you combine that with my face, I don't know why, but I've never been out and about and not gotten approached. People just approach me. Sometimes it is to talk about the cool Leica camera that I'm using, and sometimes it's to yell at me for taking their photograph. I don't know what it is, right? I just have that face. I have a face, I think, that makes people uncomfortable. I did a casting workshop once over at the SAG office on Wilshire, and I did it 2 different times. And what they do is they put you up on a little stage. You just sit there. You just sit in a chair. You don't say one word. You don't even open your mouth. You just sit there, and this entire group of people basically typecast you. Like, oh, he'd be a good cop or he'd be a good lawyer. And you know what the majority of the people cast me as? A drug dealer / thief, okay? So I thought about that. I'm like, wow, that was crazy. Maybe it's because, I had a leather jacket on, and it's not like a crazy greaser jacket. It was just like a brown leather jacket. But I thought, well, maybe what if I go back, do it a different time, a different group of people, and I'll dress completely differently and see what the results are. So I went with a little cardigan sweater, and I did my hair a little, I tried to look as bougie as possible. Completely different group of people. Still got the same results, thief and drug dealer. So I think I just have one of those faces, unfortunately, that makes people uncomfortable to begin with. Regardless if I'm grinning from ear to ear, it doesn't matter. Maybe even some people would say when I'm smiling that big, I look more like a psycho than a person comfortable. I don't know what it is, right? So you combine that now with this cool hipster camera like my Leica rangefinder, wherever it's back there hanging on the wall right now because we're not taking it out today. You guys have seen it plenty of times enough. It doesn't matter. It's just, it is what it is. So I to take the pressure off a little bit more in regards to making myself to go shoot in my own little town here, I thought, well, let me be even more discreet. And that's hence why the pocket camera. And that's what brings us to the Sony film simulation. That is what CineChrome is. It is one of the Sony film simulations. Now, look, if you don't know about that, I'll leave a video down below to explain all that stuff. So I can't wait to see what you guys think about this in the comments. Now, to make my life easier on this and to make it a little bit more fun, just, I'm always trying to give myself little incentives because for me, I hate the process of just getting there, like the whole process of just getting to the location and getting out and getting the little wiggles out when you're first getting there. And up until I hit the shutter for the very first time of the day, all of that shit prior, I just hate it. But once I'm there and once I've hit the shutter at least once, then it's like something changes in my brain and I'm like singing in the rain, man. I am like over the moon. But for whatever reason, it's like completely opposite, like dark abysmal hell up until I get out there. And I think a lot of it is because of the pressure. But before we get into the second topic, and I put them in this website I found that's basically like a digital Russian roulette wheel, not a Russian roulette wheel, but it's like a wheel of fortune. And I just dropped all the day color Sony film sims in there and just let it randomly choose one. So I put it at the mercy of what film simulation I choose to shoot on to the AI gods, and it just randomly chose CineChrome. So about that again, these are JPEGs straight out of camera. So, but let's get into the second topic as we're looking at these photographs here, and that is the reality of why is it so hard for me to get out there and just get out there. When the reality is, when I'm already out there doing it, I love it. I just couldn't be more enamored. And I think it's because of all the pressure I put on myself leading up to just being there doing it, right? And it's just like I don't have to do that, because when you really peel it back and you look at the reality of what we're doing, we're just walking around with a camera in our hands. That's really all that we're doing. That's all that's happening. We're literally just walking around. And for whatever reason, I put all this pressure on myself beforehand for no reason whatsoever. I think there's something that happens to me where I go, ooh, I'm preparing to go shoot street photography because I'm a street photographer and all this stuff. And it's stupid, quite honestly. That's, first of all, that's not what's happening. And second of all, that's not what I am. Really, you don't need to put labels on yourself. You don't need to put labels on what you're doing because you're just walking around. You're literally, and if you want to heighten it up a little more, it's like, okay, then you're exploring, right? But that's that's the end all be all, right? You're just walking around with a camera, you're exploring. And I think that if we can get into that mindset, one, I think what we're doing is a lot more enjoyable, and you never know, you might get a little bit more surprised that way. And it's just, for me, mainly, it's just a matter of not putting so much pressure on myself that makes it causes my anxiety to crank up to like 200% to where it's really, really hard for me to just get out there doing it. And it's like, it's because of the label that I put on it, or the expectations that I put on it, or, whatever, hopes, dreams, desires, anything, or fear. Fear is a big one of it. Again, because I mentioned I get approached so often, there is a lot of fear involved with it. If you take little breaks, then it's like you got to rebuild all that courage back up again. You got to reset all over again. And that's just a part of repetition as well. Just keep doing it, keep grinding. And if you are in a little town, if you are in even more of a small town than I am, which I'm sure a lot of you are, then one, I have nothing to complain about, right? What the fuck's my problem? But the reality is like, anyone can be disappointed by anything. We're all just products of our own environment, right? So we don't need to be too hard on ourselves, right? So, but again, it's like, there is an important part of documenting your own community. There can be a picture made of anything. It doesn't matter, right? And so there is some fun to that. It's been a while since I've really forced myself to just walk around. A lot of times I'll whip through on the e-bike or the fixed e-bike or driving through and just get out for a second or two and then go. It's like, no, I need to just start hoofing it again. Anyways, I don't know if any of this helped you. I don't know if this is the wrong direction to go on this channel. It was literally just because I had no GoPro footage, because adding the GoPro to the mix adds a little bit, it's like the more shit that I have on me, the more eyes are drawn to me, and I just don't want to deal with that. I just want to be out there with this little tiny, tourist camera, and away we go with this CineChrome. So I can't wait to see what the CineChrome looks like. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about it, your observations on it. As always, thank you guys for the support, and if it's your first time here, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We'll see you in the next one.
And if you have the proper luck and the holy endurance, the gods just might deliver.